Hey guys, what's going on? It's XTR. We're back and we're talking about crouching in Valorant. Why it may be a crutch and why for some people it may be a crutch, and why at the same time it is also very good to utilize crouching when you are playing the game. And in Valorant, unlike CSGO, bursting and tapping is not nearly as good in in gunfights. Now the problem that creates is a lot of people will just come in and they will try and spray almost every single time that they try and take a gunfight. So they'll come in, they'll start spraying, and after about the 6th or 7th shot, they'll drop down. And some players even will crouch and then they'll start spraying, which most of the times really isn't that good. The only time I recommend crouching before actually taking a gunfight is if you want to create a slight off angle for yourself so you won't be pre-aimed at head level. And that's the only really real time that I actually would condone crouching before taking a gunfight. Like if you're sitting right here and you know they know you're here pretty much, and you need to give yourself some sort of advantage, so you crouch so they're not instantly aiming at your head and you can try and take gunfights that way. But honestly, like, crouching before taking the gunfight is usually not that good. And if you have this problem, that is definitely something you are leaning on to try and help you get kills, and it's something that you need to knock out instantly. It's a very, very prominent habit for newer players. And if you have this problem, then you need to instantly cut that out, because that shuts down your mobility. And not only that, it makes you a much smaller target to hit. So it's very easy for the enemy to actually just spray in your area and get a headshot on you, because you're condensing your body to the point where you are just this tiny fucking blob that all they have to do is shoot near your head and they'll probably kill you. Most players at the lower ranks will aim at chest level, I've noticed. So usually crouching in general at the lower ranks is kind of a detriment, because you will just get shot in the head very quickly. Now, crouching mid gunfight is something that is good, yes, but you shouldn't force it. You shouldn't think to yourself, hey, if I crouch here, it's going to win me this gunfight. Now, sometimes if you are in a spray duel with someone and you're at the higher ranks or even at the lower ranks occasionally, and they're hitting you in the chest, you can crouch, and that will help very well. But most of the times when people are spraying, they're going to be spraying and they're going to be aiming around chest, trying to bring their spray up to your head. So usually after about 6 or 7 shots, you can spray, and then you can drop down and continue your spray. That makes you a smaller target, and then they have to adjust their crosshair down to your head. Now, honestly, it's very situational in the fact that, yes, sometimes it is bad to crouch because you make yourself a much easier target. But at the same time, sometimes it's good, because if you make yourself that smaller target, then it gives you that one extra like millisecond to actually land the headshot on the enemy player, because they're going to have to adjust down, whereas you are already in the middle of adjusting. Crouching does pull your spray down slightly as well. So if you are just a little bit off on your crosshair placement and you're spraying, you can drop down and then pull your spray down, and it's much easier than just pulling it down generally. Now, some ways to fix extra crouching, unnecessary crouching, would to be, you know, unbinding your crouch key, simple as it sounds. What I used to do when I had a problem with crouching, and I still do have a problem with crouching occasionally that I have to iron out because it's just a very bad habit that I have, is I will unbind my crouch key and I will bind it to a different key, say like Z or something. So I still have to press it. I can still press it, but it's not going to be one of those things that I'm constantly pressing. And doing a callback to what I was saying earlier, with spraying being really the most viable way of getting kills in this game, like, sure, you can tap a little bit, but spraying is overall going to be one of the best ways you can actually secure kills. It's going to make you tend to crouch a lot more, and it's going to instill that habit much quicker, just because you are constantly going to want to be crouching. And it's a whole mental thing too. Like, if you're mid gunfight, a lot of the times you do think about crouching, and it just happens. And a lot of the times you don't think about it. So a lot of the times when I'm spraying, I will drop after about this like 6th or 7th shot, and I will continue my spray from there if I don't already secure the kill. So I'll go for the burst in the initial, and then I'll continue on to a spray, and then I will crouch down. So a lot of it comes down to, you know, the muscle memory that you are building up. And honestly, crouching can be good, but a lot of the times it will get you killed. And especially if you are wide in an angle and you decide to crouch, then you are going to die. Now, one of the biggest things with Valorant is You want to make sure that you are not putting yourself in these wide ass angles where if you crouch, you have no way of getting back. You want to be taking more narrow gunfights, like say this right here, where you can just spray and back out. If you miss these first like 6 shots, you have the ability to just leave. And that's what you need to keep under your belt. You want that ability to just be able to back out of the gunfight as soon as you possibly can. Now, if you aren't backing out of the gunfight and you just stand right here and then you crouch down, you are most likely giving them a free trade. If you get 1 kill, you will most likely get traded because there's going to be another one following up. But if you take a more narrow peek here, then you are able to get 1 kill and you are able to fall back, or you are able to even miss that kill and fall back still and be safe. But when you are swinging wide like this, you will have the tendency to not only start spraying, but you will crouch down a lot of the times. It's just the way it works. If you are wide swinging into an angle and you are super far into that angle and you are taking a gunfight, you will most likely crouch and you will most likely immobilize yourself and put yourself in that position where you will most likely get traded. So crouching, in my opinion, is kind of a crutch solely for the fact that so many people rely on it for them actually getting the kill, and it needs to be used very situationally and very carefully. Now, if you are standing out in the middle right here, you have 2 options. Either you take the spray or you take a tap and fall to this angle, which is much closer than running all the way back here. So you can take the tap and fall to this angle, but then you are pinned. You have to use utility to get out. Or what you can do is you can just try and take the gunfight. You can spray, you can crouch, or you can try running. Those are your 3 real options there. And honestly, you shouldn't have to decide from 3 terrible options. You should only put yourself in a position where you have to decide on either 2 things. Either you stay here and you take the gunfight, or you fall out. Those should be your only real options in gunfights like this. You shouldn't put yourself in a position where you are basically having 3 different options, all of which leading to a 70% chance that you are fucking dead. That's why wide swinging and crouching is bad. Wide swinging can occasionally be good if there's 1 player and you want to take that one-on-one gunfight and you want to take the risks, so you wide swing. That's when wide swinging can be good. And I'll make an entire video on wide swinging versus narrow peeking in a separate video later in the future. But for now, it's very important to understand that wide swinging is not your go-to swing. You don't want to be using wide swing as your main way of taking engagements, because that is putting you in very bad positions. That is very dangerous, and then you will bring crouching in to try and assist you if you panic or if you don't hit your first 6 shots and get the kill. So one of the biggest things to understand is the fact that yes, crouching can get you killed a lot, but at the same time, people will mistake them crouching for getting them killed versus what engagements they're actually taking. If they're taking these wide-ass engagements and they die while they're crouched down, a lot of the times they're going to blame it and be like, yeah, I was crouched there. I have an issue with crouching. When in reality, it's just you putting yourself in a bad position and crouching in that moment, and then you just pin it on crouching as the scapegoat, when in reality, you were just taking a very bad duel. Now, in summary, crouching can be good to throw the enemy off and stabilize your spray if your spray's fucked up. But crouching can be bad in the ways that if a lot of players are aiming at chest level in your game or like at your fucking dick, then if you crouch, you make yourself a much easier target to hit. A lot of players seem to think that crouching makes you a much smaller target, which yes, it does, but it also makes it much easier for them to hit you in the head. So if you are starting a gunfight off in the crouching position, they really don't have to do much to actually land a headshot on you. Crouching is really the biggest thing about crouching, and making yourself a smaller target mid-gunfight. The only reason it's good is because you are throwing your spray off and making them actually have to adjust mid-spray. So you don't always want to be crouching, and you definitely don't want to be starting an engagement off crouching unless you are creating an off angle for yourself. Now, if you notice yourself crouching too much and you notice yourself taking wide swings too much, tone back your aggression a little bit, take these more narrow angles and fall back to sight and whatnot, instead, as opposed to just peeking out wide and trying to take these big ass gunfights that you probably won't win. So that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. If you have any like debates to make about this topic, go ahead and leave them in the comments and I will try and respond to you. I made this fucking joke when I started the channel that I only get 3 comments. Well, you know, now I'm getting more, so it's a little bit harder to actually respond to all of them. But I appreciate y'all coming in and debating, and you know, if you think I'm wrong, by all means fucking tell me and I will try and see your way of it. You know, I am a stubborn piece of shit, so you know, maybe it won't work out in your favor and maybe I'll just come across like an asshole, but I guess we won't know until we try. Now, I hope you guys have a good day. Stay safe and stay tuned for the next video. I don't know what it's going to be on. I was planning on doing something with another creator. I believe we're going to go over aggression, so that may or may not be the next video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good day.